All right, folks. Hey, welcome on back to this Tuesday. Right on back to our Traders Talk workshop. Basically, Monday's activities here this Tuesday, August 19th. We have all of our students members back inside our live trading room. So, Kathleen just a moment ago, Tim just a moment ago, uh, Ron, got Roberto, a bunch of us students joining us here. So, let me know if you have me here over these airwaves, folks. Just had a small little blip in my internet connection a moment ago here. So, give me the green light, Jeff, Albert, Dave. Go all of our students here. Perfect. All right. And then otherwise, if you're just joining us on social, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, trying to get this a perfect game here this afternoon. Been so far so good. Can't control the Wi-Fi, but down below, bottom left at Cyber Trading You, just make sure to hit the follow, like, subscribe buttons right down below, just so you're more in tune with these feeds, with these videos each and every day. But yeah, heading into the afternoon now, we also have our classes coming on up too, don't we? We got the Phase 1 stock course continuing. We're going to talk more about the charts. And basically here, nothing really too advanced, too calculated just yet. Just going over simple support resistance, simple trends, and that those two things basically, or three, I guess, create these consolidation patterns. They create these chart patterns that we'll focus on. So Fausto flags, pennants, head and shoulders, not the shampoo. We're talking the chart pattern here, folks. So, heading into the afternoon, speaking of chart patterns, these are lower highs across the market here. The SPY, it's been bottoming out pretty well, but with lower highs, we typically should see a lower low, right? Now, if that happens with the market, then I'm sure it's going to be tough to try and long a lot of things, and especially the larger equities. This has been building a nice steady trend line, you could say, from August, but I'm sure that you can connect dots from lower dips from earlier this calendar year. But just point being is that once we broke this trend line here, we need to hold support. So that could be off of the low of this wick. It could be. If you want to be conservative, you could say maybe this can try and hold here pretty well, go back up over time. But it's dropping now, and there's about three or 4 points away even from the low on this candle here. And if it breaks that, then who the hell knows, right? We could see this drop much further down. Hey, I'm not calling for a bear market or not calling for a recession. Do not do that in front of me right now. If you did that back in October of 2023, you probably aren't here right now because you probably blew up your account, right? So that's just where please do not call for some sort of crash recession yet. But is it a non-zero chance? Yeah, it's more than 0% chance that it could happen, right? So it's got to cross your T's, dot your I's, and know where your levels are next. So with that, on the SPY, we'll see if this can try and hold over the low of this wick, this candle, around 637, 636 and some change, right? All right. So with class in mind, we got class coming on up this afternoon, folks. So again, if you're joining us just inside our live trading room, I know that Rich posted the link a few times. We'll probably post a couple more before we wrap it up, but let's see what we got here. Go across the percent gainers and losers lists right now. And I mean, listen, not everything's going to drop at the market because there could be some small cap stocks that go against the grain that make their own move on their own accord. It needs to be at the highs. So top three, top four, even this, not looking as good. X4, XFOR. Had a good little pop just before, but what goes up comes back down, and this did not hold support where it needed to. Ooh. Oh, you know what then? Okay, fair enough. Fair play. Because I'm the one that called this out early this morning. I'm just like, oh, I forgot. So PLTZ, this is the PLTR ETF, the inverse to it. So Palantir, we're going to find this on the losers list. Obviously, we're going to put this on the watch list as is. If you really want to short, then you could do that, or you could do PLTU if you're able to get the shares to short this. But you don't need to short this market to make money. You could buy puts, if you're a consistent options trader. But I'd rather you focus on this ETF, PLTZ. Just for now, PLTR, PLTZ. You'll probably see me tag a couple of these combos together. If it's like a micro strategy here, MSTZ, this goes obviously inverse to MSTR, micro strategy. This obviously pretty expensive too, so it make more sense to try and long the cheaper, double leveraged alternative. Actually, you're going to make more money and you're going to use less of your account likely to do so. So I'll add the MSTZ, MSTR combo. What else? What else we got here, folks? This thing's actually kind of holding up here. SSYS. I don't think this is an ETF. This is just on its own, doing its own thing, a company. Order book, not terrible. Listen, I'll put this on our watch list here. It looks pretty strong for the time being. And it's filling a gap, so that's interesting. It is a gap fill, even up to here, even up to 1136 technically, because after the market closed on this one candle is when it crashed into, this open here. So it's been doing a good job filling the gap. Yeah, you might have a little turbulence here, but I could see this going all the way back up towards 1130s. There's a shot, a non-zero chance, we'll say. All right, let's see what else we got here. I didn't type it in. Okay, SSYS on our list. NVFY. Most things are going to look like this at this point. So just do your due diligence. Just scan through. I do have my volume filter raised up, so we're good there. Another combo trade here between SMCI, super microcomputer, down about 4.5%. So, this one's up twice as much, technically, up 9.3. We'll take it. The SMCI, not, that 5+%, but whatever. We're going to add it there too. SMCZ, SMCI. Now, I don't think that we need to add all of these combos. Those three are the ones that are down the most, I think, as far as the larger cap stocks, at least. I'm sure we might find more, but see if there's any stocks that are holding up better, at least. PGen had a great push earlier. It is holding pretty nice. I wouldn't mind kind of putting this on the side list for right now. Lynn and Randy are going to be tough right now here. What volume setting on the scanner? Oh, volume setting for the scanner. Oh, I thought you meant the volume for my meeting. I was like, that's going to be tough to multitask. I got it at like 2 million, 2.5 million, sometimes 1.5. I just use a quick number as I just pop it in there. But typically you're looking for stocks trading like millions of shares. You do not need or want necessarily the bare bottom, but that's where I'll jack it up even to like a couple million, 1.5 million. So you're referring to the volume on my stream, which I cannot do anything about at this point. The Array Trade, an energy company, solar energy, just moving up pretty well. This had a good push from the other day, didn't it? I think even from end of last week with Run, Array, SEDG, a little bit there too. Enphase, a little bit there too, not as much. The Array Trade, that was the one that was up the most so far. So you know what? I don't need to add all of them, but I'll add this one. I'm triple checking my volume just throughout this afternoon, so I'm like superstitious. Intel kind of washed up at this point. Actually, Fausto called out top on this really well this morning. Before reversal time, a little bit before, and it was perfectly timed, Fausto. Throughout the morning, but nailed the top. All right, what else we got here? Anything else looking good? Inverse ETFs. This thing is barely moving, so hop over to the loser side here. Let's actually show that volume right there. What do we got? Probably going to jack that up. Do 2.5 million. Just figure it out. VKTX. This pulled back a little bit. It was a great short early on this morning. Got squashed like a bug, but did continue to drop off later on. Lower highs, lower low. Reversal time around 10:30. Good dip. I feel like a lot of it's kind of washed up at this stage. So again, PLTR ETFs. Don't need to add all of them. All about you. Being a little selfless here this afternoon, isn't it? Down about 17%, focused on other things there. All about you, you. So one of the uranium stocks, it could be, earnings, whatever the case is, this thing got whacked. This is one of the stronger trades between this and UEC. So whatever happens here, clearly falling back under this peak, under this resistance area, and now it's barely holding on to support. Wouldn't shock me if this wick gets completely taken out tomorrow or later on this week. So it's just more dead now at this point in the afternoon. Like really flat here. Not flat, but just there's other trades to focus on, I feel. SFL. This one's at the low of the day. Easy to borrow on my platform. Good orders out there on the book, at least in terms of just general liquidity. Not at all-time lows, but, obviously a very weak chart, so there could be more on the downside here. I'll add it. Doesn't hurt. Oh, L, my dyslexia, that hurts. Because if I put out SFI, that wouldn't really do you many favors there, right? SFL. All right. Anything else here? Anything else here? Any other stocks getting beaten up to oblivion? Soon, down about 9% so far, and it's at the low of the day, so that's actually not a bad choice. Hut, I'm not really particular about the Bitcoin mining stocks right now, just in total. QS still getting beaten up, so this actually wouldn't be a bad shout. A couple of these I'm just cycling through quick. I'll come back to them at the end here. So AMD, hey, I don't think there's a good inverse to AMD. So AMDL is down about 10%, which means, do the math, regular AMD down about 5%. So that's another combo I could just put on our list there too. It's tradable. If you focus on AMD, just nice drop off, could very well break lower and be more downside room. And there's a lot on the losers list now, isn't there? All right, so we actually went through the gainer side, obviously pretty quick. We're going to find too much on there with the market dropping off, but there is a lot that some stocks we've gone through already. MSTR, like QBTS, that's down a lot today. That's easy to borrow. Could be a good short. IONQ, same deal pretty much. So this is where I got to stop myself and say, I don't need to put every single stock that's tradable on our list, right? Like we have stocks that are good shorts already, but we have some good trades on the way up as well. We're not at a shortage of trades at this point. So, I think that we've done a great job already. I don't really think there's anything else that we desperately need. A lot of these trades are doing bad. They're at the lows or near the lows, and like the Soon stock, if you do well on that and you want to short that, go on ahead. QBTS, if you do well on that, more often than not, you want to trade that on the way down, go on ahead. APLD, it's holding up a little bit stronger, not as much movement to it, so probably just pass on that. I took a loss on BBAI this morning, so I pulled back just a little bit. I got out at like 577, 576. Just right away, if it's not going to hold over the prior day's low, all right, take the loss. That's it. I was in from 588. So I thought it was a good level, but just not the right time, clearly. And that is where you want to get out, right in good timing here. This thing just got beat up afterwards. Actually, I said to myself, I'm not going to jump in on it right away here, but I'm like, I wonder if 550 can get touched. And that's, if I'm not mistaken, the low on this wick here. So if we can get a move back over this low, I'm like, maybe we can get a sling where it fill. I wanted this to fill the gap. So that'll happen in due time. We'll see BBAI back up towards 7, I'm sure, at some point, but right place, wrong time. That's all. Will I repeat MSTR? Absolutely. Absolutely, Sharon. So, MSTR just getting crushed here, and that's more based on Bitcoin's drop off, right? Bitcoin falling down below 113 at this stage here. I was looking for a move up towards 130, and if we're not getting that, this is where you could say conditional trading, discretionary trading, even more above that. But the two most powerful words with trading are if and then. If resistance flips into support, then there's a good chance for a better move. If Bitcoin pulls back under past resistance and fails to flip that resistance, then it's either going to take longer for it to do so, or then in that case, we could see the stock or Bitcoin crash down again. There are people calling for 100,000. There's people calling for 93,000 even here, kind of looking at these wicks to get taken out. That's an area of support to look at. Otherwise, I would focus around here, around just over 100,000. I guess you could say this comes first, but this is like hanging on by a damn thread. So it seems all but likely we're going to have more drop off on Bitcoin, which leads me to say there's going to be more drop off on MSTR. Oh, also there's something going on about MicroStrategy. I think that Michael Saylor did some adjustment on. This is way over my pay grade. When I tell you I'm not the brightest bulb of this bunch, I'm self-deprecating and humor. I know I'm kind of smart, but what's going on with MSTR is levels, eons above my pay grade. So, there's something that Saylor's doing that the investors don't like. I think something going against his original plan with Bitcoin and allocations and whatnot. So there could be a lot more downside room on that. Now, what else we got? Anything else looking good? And also, I'll say with MSTR, MSTZ is the inverse. So this goes up as MSTR goes down. Open back from the chart. This is, it's support held. So if it pops later on when Rich is on the mic, I'm sure he'll call it out. AMDD. Oh, that's interesting. That's why, Genevieve. I appreciate that, though. At least this isn't trading a lot of volume. Nothing really that we want to focus on. But hey, if you want to focus on AMD, then I'd rather just short the ETF here because it's way cheaper than the equity. But then otherwise, if you're looking for a long, then honestly, I'd rather have you just do MSTZ or even the SMCZ there. This is showing a little bit better volume compared to the AMD one. And that's okay. That's okay because I mean, hey, in terms of dropping off at the market, rising tide lifts most boats. Well, sinking market, yeah, most boats going to drop with it. So, I'm sure that you're going to find a couple good trades even outside of our watch list. Thomas with an article. Oh, there you go, Genevieve there. Will Fed talks help? I mean this really in a friendly way, like to everyone here. Your guess is as good as mine. Honestly, who knows? When's Powell resigning? I have no idea when that's happening. When the rates are going to get lowered? No, there were people looking for it, and I thought it was going to happen. I'll just say way earlier this year, if not even at the end of last year. But just to say, though, that that hasn't happened. So people grow frustrated. So even if there are Fed talks, now, of course, if there's things with like Russia, Ukraine, if there's things with China, Taiwan, even you could just say, but other international relations that de-escalate, then that, of course, will help the market. That is a bigger talking point, I think, recently here. So I think that there's some good talks at least going on with Putin, Zelensky, and Trump mediating that and whatnot. So all right, folks. Hey, we're going to wrap it up at least for right now. If you are a student, you have access. So remember, keep in mind, if you are phase 1 or higher, you have access to our class coming on up this afternoon. And if you don't have access, if you're just a trial member or if you're just a member here, you're not a student yet, you're looking to take part, you got a lot of time to decide, especially if you're just joining us for the week. Today's Tuesday. So certainly hope that you enjoyed your Monday. Today, so far, so good. Even in a down market, we find ways to make money. You don't need to short even at this point anymore. You can long the inverses. There's a lot of opportunity here, folks. So, that's where I say just take your time as a trial member and see if this is for you or not. It is not necessarily for everyone. I mean, trading in general is not for everyone, right? That's why they have Gamblers Anonymous numbers out at every casino, because gambling isn't for everyone. And here we're not gambling, but it's the same concept of just risking money. And, hey, that's where we tell you, we want you to take things slowly and take things in steps. And if this is for you, you like what you see, this is, cool, and you see the opportunity in all this, then at that point, that's where we encourage you for you to join us in our classes then. But, otherwise, hey, what do we got here from Genevieve to wrap up? She says, I never short to chicken. I love trading the Tesla inverse though. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me even check that out. We haven't even looked at Tesla today. Down 2%. So not down as much at least, but it's at the lows. So, hey, you know what, Genevieve? I'm sure you got TSLZ. This might even be a little too slow. But definitely, I'm sure that you're inclined to focus on this heading into the afternoon. I would even have you go to TSLS, Genevieve. This technically is only 1x leveraged compared to the TSLZ, but I think that this trades a little bit better volume, perhaps. Like it feels like it's not going to. Well, I'll tell you what, this thing has some huge orders here too. Oh, geez. That's a bad part of any stock. You want to make sure it has, obviously a good spread and good orders at every price. But look at this. You see like 2 million shares at this price, 2.8 million at this price. So that's where it's like, oof, geez. Might want a little bit less than that. So we find that happy medium in our classes, not necessarily today, but even coming up actually on Friday, we'll teach you how to scan the market. We'll teach you what to look for, not just on the volume total, but also just in terms of level 3. And we'll talk to you about the order book, liquidity or lack thereof. And, we'll go from there, folks. But hey, it all starts with this afternoon's class coming up at 3 o'clock. We're going to just continue our discussion with charts and charting patterns, talk about the Fausto flags, the pennants, the head and shoulders. Again, if you got the dandruff, we don't have shampoo for you here this afternoon. We got chart patterns, but otherwise I look forward to seeing you in class. All right. I get in a corny dad joke or two, and you know me. So hey, best of luck, folks, heading into the close, but we'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern for the morning meeting if you're joining us on YouTube or any of our socials. But otherwise, if you're a member inside our room, just stay tuned. In about 15 or so minutes, Rich will be on here just taking you into the